Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to yet another very exciting Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, we have some exclusive news for the upcoming Star Wars movies. Ooh, this is going to be a banger, guys. This is an opportunity to move beyond the sequel trilogy. I love the raw potential for new stories in the galaxy we love so much. You guys know my channel. I'm always glass half full. I'm always hoping that the next Star Wars movie or the next Star Wars show is going to be great. I'm always hoping for the best. I love Star Wars and sharing that passion with you. So today we have not one, not two, but three gigantic Star Wars movie updates. And we're going to begin with this breaking exclusive from nexuspointnews.com. The working titles for Shawn Levy's Star Wars Starfighter and Taika Waititi's Star Wars film have been unveiled. Now when I read this, I was just as baffled and confused as you probably are, my friends. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie? Isn't that basically cancelled? Not only have comments from Taika himself been very worrying when he said he wants to piss off Star Wars fans, but a few months ago when Kathleen Kennedy was asked about it, she said, well, Taika is on Taika time, which means whenever he's ready to make it, as if it's an afterthought. Come on, Taika, respect the Star Wars universe and realize just how massive an opportunity this is. And this isn't the first time I've expressed concern about Taika's film. It sounds like he wants to make this a Star Wars comedy. And I've got to say, while he's made some pretty decent movies, his style of comedy really isn't my cup of tea. Nonetheless, despite the movie being announced almost 6 years ago, we finally have something concrete to sink our teeth into, a definitive update. And it's really weird because just a few days ago, Taika announced he's going to be fast-tracking his Judge Dredd movie. And in response, fans were like, well, this is the final nail in the coffin for a Star Wars film. But apparently not. Star Wars might at long last be the next thing on his list. And just a few months ago, back in April, just after Star Wars Celebration, Taika announced his co-writer on his Star Wars movie is Tony McNamara, who took over from Kirsty Wilson-Cairns. So if this film was on the back burner, if it truly was indefinitely delayed and cancelled, we wouldn't have had that update. And now there is more, my friends, so let's dive straight in. According to the report, the working title for Taika's upcoming Star Wars movie is Cosmic Doom. Cosmic Doom. It certainly sounds more sinister and less comedic than you'd expect, and it's making me very curious about the plot and the setting. When in the Star Wars timeline is this set? Cosmic Doom to me sounds like something from the expanded universe. It sounds like an impending threat to the galaxy, something maybe relating to the Yuuzhan Vong or the Star Wars canon counterpart, the Grisk. But unless we're mistaken and the rumors of this being a Star Wars comedy are wrong, when you factor in Taika's style of filmmaking, it sounds pretty deceptive. And we also now know that the production name for the movie is Ghost Truck 6. What could this be in relation to? If we're talking about the Grisk, you immediately think of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Is this going to be another Mandoverse project? And one of the reasons I say this is because Ghost Truck 6 sounds suspiciously similar to Ghost Truck 17, which was a listing on Production Weekly for an unknown Star Wars project 3 years ago. And back then, fans theorized this might be a Bo-Katan project, something which both Katie Sackhoff and Dave Filoni have been teasing for quite a long time. I don't know how much of that got absorbed into The Mandalorian's 3rd season. Maybe Ghost Truck could be in relation to The Ghost. Again, a Mando-era movie set after Episode 6 that involves Hera, Ezra, Seb, and the New Republic. Maybe it's set after Ahsoka Season 2. I'm just theorizing, but for a Taika Waititi movie, Cosmic Doom sounds incredibly grievous. No, not that grievous. What I'm saying is it sounds very serious. Perhaps even bordering on horror. But keep in mind, guys, working titles and production titles are often very vague for a reason. And so now, guys, we move on to the working title for Shawn Levy's Starfighter. This is definitely exciting, but far less mysterious, because we already know quite a lot about the movie. Ryan Gosling being cast, the plot of there being 2 villains after his nephew, and the fact it's set just a handful of years after the rise of Skywalker. But now we know the working title, Kyber Mist, and the production name is Blue Mist. Now this shouldn't come as any surprise. This is going to be the 2027 movie, so the one being filmed later this year, and the logo reveal from Star Wars Celebration in Japan already gave us the sound of a lightsaber igniting, and given the yellow hue behind it, fans made the assumption the movie's going to end with an appearance from Rey, feeding into her own movie and the Simon Kinberg trilogy. That could be why the working title is Kyber Mist, because from all accounts, it sounds like the movie is Ryan Gosling trying to get his Force-sensitive nephew to raise Jedi Academy. As for the production title Blue Mist Productions, maybe that's the lightsaber colour of Finn, if he makes an appearance, or the Kyber crystal of the Padawan, Ryan Gosling's character's nephew. But this working title definitely solidifies that this movie is going to be very Jedi-centric. But because the title is Star Wars Starfighter, I wonder if there's a chance of Poe Dameron appearing. Oscar Isaac has been teasing a return for a while. And speaking of cast, we have a cast update for this movie. Take this with a massive grain of salt. But according to a brand new rumour, Chris Evans is being eyed for a role in an upcoming project. This isn't necessarily for Starfighter, but given the majority of casting updates have been for this movie the last few months, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris stars alongside Ryan. Chris Evans, of course, is best known for his role as Captain America in the MCU, one iteration of Steve Rogers. Some very juicy updates in this video, my friends, and we have yet another Star Wars movie update. This one is for the next movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, coming May 2026. Timothy Olyphant, who plays the incredible Marshall Cobb Vanth, was recently asked at Comic-Con if he's going to return to the Star Wars universe. After all, he didn't appear in The Mandalorian's third season, and hasn't been seen since Book of Boba Fett. So Timothy was asked, can we expect a return of the Marshal, perhaps in The Mandalorian and Grogu? And his response was rather telling. He doesn't deny it, but it seems like he's under the influence of a non-disclosure agreement, because he said, quote, I appreciate the question, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Ooh, very interesting stuff. So what I did was I reached out to my friend, a source for The Mandalorian and Grogu, and he told us he doesn't know about any of the Tatooine stuff. So it's very possible, after he was shot by Cad Bane, he was recovering in a Bacta tank, Boba's Bacta tank, and the end of the show teased that he's going to be done up by the mods. So he was always slated to return at a later date. Is he going to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu? I don't know, but this response should definitely give fans hope. I'd love to see Cobb Vanth come back. And it's also worth noting, there is a Mando Season 2 Cobb Vanth Lego set coming in 2026, the same year as the movie. Is this just a coincidence, or are they teasing his return? Because they know fans are going to be interested in the character again, and for a very good reason. And finally guys, another tease for The Mandalorian and Grogu from Jon Favreau. He's confirmed the movie's been filmed with IMAX in mind, so when you go to see it in IMAX. In a conversation with Collider.com, he said the space scenes are epic and were designed to look great on IMAX screens. And Favreau also says taller sets were built for the experience. And finally he says virtual reality was used on set to preview the IMAX experience. I hope this movie is great. I am a bit worried from some of the things I've heard. There's not going to be any big cameos other than Rotter and Embo. There is no Grand Admiral Thrawn, and don't expect anything relating to the Mortis Gods, or Balin, or the wider Mandoverse. The movie is very much 2 or 3 episodes, 2 or 3 missions of the show, but made for the big screen, so take that as you will.